Let me give you two new words that I believe the Lord dropped into my spirit. I thought those words existed somewhere, but could not find them anywhere. The first word is de-man-ization. When the Lord spoke to me about this, I was praying for our nation, praying for men and women to rise up and be true men and women of God. And the Lord said to me, there is this subtle attempt of the enemy to de-man-ize men, to take away from them their biblical masculinity. We hear a lot of talk today about toxic masculinity, referring to male dominance, the aggressive nature that God put inside the man in a negative kind of sense. And yes, there is some of that, but that should not take away from the fact that God created us, put a desire inside of us. Actually, he used the word dominion. I want you to go forth into the world, and I want you to live in dominion. I want you to be in charge. I want you to be a real man. I want you to be a biblical man. I want you to be a God man. Within every man, there is this desire to know who he is. Where did I come from? What am I here for? What is my purpose? And God spells it out for us. He said, I want you to tend and guard and keep the garden, Adam. Same command is given to you and I, meaning the whole earth is our garden, especially where we live, our neighborhoods, our community, our nation. We as men are to rise up, to tend, to guard, to keep the area that we live in. We are to be men who rise up and show up in our families. I believe every woman will respect godly masculinity. When I look at godly masculinity, I mean man rising up and in the image and the likeness of God, letting a woman see what a real man is like. He's a leader. He's a man who hears the voice of God, goes into the presence of God to hear what God is saying, comes out of the presence of God and sits with his wife and shares with her what God is telling him. He loves his wife the same way God loves him. She turns around and takes that love that he gives to her and she amplifies it and magnifies it. And she loves him and she loves the children and she loves others with that love. Interestingly enough, while there is a direct command in the Bible for husbands to love their wives, Genesis chapter 5, husbands love your wives as Christ also loved the church. In essence, the same love that Christ had for the church when he laid down his life and died for the church. He said, I want a man to have that for his wife. But there is no direct command in the Bible for a woman to love her husband. Is she supposed to love her husband? Oh, she will. If he loves her with the love of God, she will love him back with the love of God, because what is sown into her comes back up out of her. We, on a day-by-day basis, see our nation in the greatest turmoil and strife we've ever seen. We have difficulty and challenges in every facet of living. Look at our government, very, very divided. Look at the races of our nation and the people who are on a day-by-day basis fomenting conflict within races and nationalities so that we're at each other's throat. We see the squabbling of politicians in Washington where they act like teenagers and they can't get along and they can't agree and they call each other names like a bunch of immature teenagers. And we see all this. And we have to ask ourselves, whatever happened to biblical manhood, biblical masculinity, when a man would rise up and become who God called him to be? I know who I am because I know who Jesus is. When you come to know Jesus, and only when you come to know Jesus, will you ever come to know who you truly are.